So we're talking for affordable forms of marketing or affordable channels, digital marketing, collaborations, and we're also talking PR.
Yes, PR.
Okay. So, I know that you've worked with Guinness. You are now with Unilever.
Ekaterra.
So I'd like to, Ekaterra. So I'd like to know, like, what's, for small businesses, for SMEs, it's tricky because, it's something I feel too as well. Sometimes I want to do things that big companies do, but I'm just like, I can't do this. Like, this is way above my budget and all that. So what would you say, what particular habits, because even if you can't do everything, you can pick out some and try and see how you can. So what habits would you say big companies, marketing habits, would you say they have that SMEs should definitely adopt for their marketing?
Yeah, very good points, because I also think about it a lot. Like, the funny thing is that in the names of the companies you've mentioned, when we are at work, we start to think, if you were Okoli and Sons, what would you do? So there is nothing you are doing big, right? That you shouldn't actually be thinking, first of all, as a small business, right? And if you're a small business, you should also be thinking, how do I get this right so I can scale up? So, it's very funny, but that's exactly how it is. So I'm in meetings, and when we've gone through all of our jargons, we come back and say, look, if we were just you and I with this product, what would we do? Right? But yes, what habit I think you should start to actively drive as a small business? Number one will be data. We are very, lazy with data normally. Many people are lazy with data. You have a gut feeling and then you go with it. That's how small businesses run. You just wake up in the morning and say, people have started wearing yellow. All the clothes and bag we are going to make this month will be yellow. Where is the data behind that? Who are the people? The 2 people in your family, or you saw 5 people in your compound. It's very, you can't go into a proper meeting in a structured business and give that kind of insight. There should be data to back it, and that's where research and development comes in. So I think that no matter how small your company is, right, especially if you're not just buying and selling, and even if you're buying and selling, you can do an estimate, do your research to understand, what do you think people need today and what will they need tomorrow? So research and development will be important. I'm trying to bring it home so that we're not just talking over heads, because people are at different levels of their business. So if you started a business last year and you want to come into this year, if you want to invest more in the business, what will determine how much you should invest in the business? It should be your data from your track record, right? How much did I sell last year? But then, how many people keep a record, right? When was my peak period? When is my low period? What drives my peak period? Is my business affected by weather? Do you understand? Is it affected by fasting?
I totally get that.
Is there a process to put this data together in your business today?
The truth is, the reason why I understand it better now, because I didn't a few years ago, but since I started Google Ads, because I tried doing it on my own, but I saw it wasn't coming together, so I got someone, and he would take me through the process. We now have a niche audience we can actually drive. What he did was he sampled, then he now narrowed down so I understand and once I saw that people were coming in a particular direction or coming for particular products, I then changed. I had to tweak 1 or 2 things. Okay, people outside Nigeria, this is what they want. People locally, this is what they want.
Absolutely.
So I totally get it.
So that's and what you've done, right, is what as a brand manager, I would probably be paying somebody to put this together as well, right? And then making my decisions based on that to say, who are our target markets? We now need to break them down. The people that are between ages 18 to 35, out of our target audience of 18 to 60, the 18 to 35, they prefer this sort of things, this sort of communication. This is where they consume their media, right? And then I channel some conversations towards that, right? And then I say, oh, the people between 35 and 50, this is the way they behave, this is what they want, this is the kind of thing they like, these are the colors. And that's what now forms a product or an extension of a product. Simple data and research, right? So it's not about just me, I'm a small company, I don't have a big lab. You don't have a big lab, but you should test, because there's something about sampling. We all did projects in university now. So you get the sample size of a population and then you try out something with them. So there's a lady who does real fruits. I'm sure you've heard of real fruits. Yeah, there was a time she sampled snacks for kids, healthy snacks for kids, and she gave everybody, in the room. She came, to the office. Of course, she came for another work, but then she used the opportunity to sample, give it to your kid and give me feedback, and sent us her email. My kids didn't like it. A lot of people's kids didn't like it. I see she has rolled out, but she rolled out with the flavors that were liked the most. Yeah. Do you understand? So I hope we're able to refer to that example.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's what I mean. I have a process for research and development. I have a process for putting your data together so that it can inform your decisions in future. The third one will be having an innovation process. When do you need to change the flow of your product? That's if you're a product company, and even if you're a service company. Even if you're a service pro company, you started with errands. Again, I come back to your story, and today you're not just doing errands, you have a whole market shop online, right? You extended, because if I called you today for errands in terms of food errands, you will still do it, but you've gone way beyond just errands into a, permit me to say, a global food website where people can purchase from any part of the world and ship it to their country, local food. You get what I mean? So how did you structure that? In most cases, it might have happened as a gut feel, but ideally you should have a plan for that. Because if you were to find a job, a regular job, they would ask you, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? That's what you should do for your brands. That's what you should do as a marketeer. Where do I see the entire portfolio of my business 5 years from now? Right? At what point do I go from selling just, looking for a random example now, food for adults, making snacks? Do I start going into baby formula? And then what it means is that you start to keep a part of your turnover into investing in the infrastructure for baby formula.
Okay.
So you have the associate, we are going to do this up until now. By 2018, we would have been able to, get accreditation to go into powdered this and powdered pap and all of that. And then you now start to extend, because by then you would have created a brand, let's say Yummy Foods. You would have created a brand up to the point where you can extend that brand. Yeah.
So it's like you're creating like a growth path for yourself.
Yes, but so we will call it an innovation funnel. I have I'm looking 2021 to 2024 plan. For my portfolio in tea. Of course, I cannot share the details with you, but I do. And if you call any brand manager, marketing lead, marketing director, chief marketing, in fact, if you call the chief marketing officer for the biggest multinational in the world, just call them in whatever country they sit and ask them. They can tell you what the funnel would be at least up until 2024. At least up until 2024. What the innovation plan for clusters. Oh, in Africa, we are going to be going into plasticless Coke. They can give you the top line. Why do they do that? That's how you should, even as a small business. So have an innovation plan or have a growth path. We can call it another name, but
futuristic.
But you have to be futuristic. You have to be futuristic. So those are the three things. And I think there is one more, forecasting. We call it forecasting. Okay. I don't know the word to use. I've been trying to demystify that word, but forecasting is having a plan, in fact, 2-year plan of what you would sell out monthly, estimating what you should sell out monthly, what you should bring in monthly. And that's the P called process in marketing. So people think marketing is just, I have a good ad on Instagram, I'm a marketer. There is so much you are doing, right? So every month, for example, I sit in a meeting where I am looking at the demand for my products in the market versus what I'm able to sell out, versus what I have in the factory. And I'm balancing it out to estimate what I'm going to sell between now and December. And then I also now use that to estimate what I'm going to sell between this year and 2024.
Okay, because I'm, well, it's not impossible, but it sounds like it sounds huge, looking at like small businesses, it sounds huge, but really, just like you said earlier, I think we always think we need to do things in a grand way instead of looking for ways to just start it and then just scale it up. So,
but a lot of small businesses have to focus. They are just not putting structure into it. So my husband runs a booker in Lagos. 2 days ago, he told me he ran out of elubo. Then he doesn't source his elubo in Lagos. He brings it from Ogbomoso because it has to be from Ogbomoso. And then he said they ran out of elubo. Like, no part of me could relate.
Like, how?
How? No, but he does that thing where, he knows that, we need 30 bags every month and all of that, right? So there could have been something that happened, or he probably forecasted wrong. But guess what? What should he do going forward? He should look at the trend. There are certain months where you have a spike driven by something. What drove that spike?
Yes,
and that's what a lot of small businesses don't do, and that's why you would run out of Elubo.
True. Now that you put it that way, I totally get it. I totally get it, because there are sometimes, because I remember that COVID changed a lot of things for me. So, the way people bought during COVID, after COVID, like it slowed down, but there were still some people, there was still demand for certain kind of like certain food products. And, that caught my attention, knowing that going forward, these are things people will buy, out of panic. And these are things that people actually really need. Like they find value in it, and they would spend money on it. So I totally get that. And I also because I know that this is the amount of, for example, like you said, but you already know that you do 30 bags in a month. So sometimes you even have to say, okay, instead of getting 30 bags, you can get like 32
offer stock.
True.